Most people grow up with a deeply rooted belief that somewhere inside them, there is a permanent, unchanging core. A soul. Something that remains the same no matter what happens. Even as the body ages, even as thoughts change, even as personality shifts, this true self is believed to stay untouched. It feels comforting. It feels stable. It feels like something you can hold on to in a world that constantly changes. But more than 2,500 years ago, Gautama Buddha challenged this idea in a way that still shocks people today. He didn't just question the existence of a permanent soul, he rejected it entirely. At first, this sounds extreme, even unsettling. If there is no soul, then what are you? What continues from moment to moment? What is reborn? What experience is life? To understand why Buddhism rejects the idea of a soul, you have to look at how Buddha examined reality, not through belief, but through direct observation. He asked a simple but powerful question: when you look at your experience, can you actually find something permanent? Start with the body. It is constantly changing. Cells die and regenerate. You age. You get sick. You heal. The body you had 10 years ago is not the same body you have now. There is no fixed physical core that remains unchanged. Then look at your thoughts. They come and go endlessly. One moment you feel happy, the next moment anxious. One day you believe something strongly, and later you completely change your mind. Thoughts are not stable enough to be a permanent self. Then look at emotions. They rise, intensify, fade away. Even strong emotions like love, anger, or fear are not constant. They depend on conditions and disappear when those conditions change. Then look at memories. They shape your identity, but they are unreliable. They can be forgotten, distorted, even completely false. And yet, you often base your sense of self on them. So if your body changes, your thoughts change, your emotions change, and your memories change, where exactly is this permanent soul? Buddha couldn't find it. And he taught that if you look closely, you won't find it either. Instead, he described the human experience as a collection of processes, not a fixed entity. In Buddhism, this is often explained through the 5 aggregates: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Together, they create the illusion of a self, like parts of a machine working together, but there is no single, unchanging owner behind them. This teaching is known as anatta, or non-self. It doesn't mean nothing exists. It means that what you call self is not a solid, independent thing. It is dynamic, constantly shifting, and dependent on conditions. So why is this considered a shocking truth? Because it goes against your deepest instinct. The mind wants stability. It wants something permanent to hold on to. The idea of a soul provides that sense of security. Without it, you might feel lost. If there is no permanent self, then what is the point of anything? Who is experiencing life? Who is making choices? But Buddha didn't teach non-self to create confusion. He taught it to reduce suffering, because the belief in a permanent self comes with a hidden cost. Once you believe there is a fixed you start defending it. You become attached to your identity. You want others to see you in a certain way. You fear anything that threatens your sense of self. This leads to constant tension. When someone criticizes you, it feels like an attack on something real and solid. When you fail, it feels like you, as a person, are inadequate. When things don't go your way, it feels like the world is against you. But what if this self you are protecting is not as solid as you think? Buddha observed that much of human suffering comes from clinging, not just to things, but to the idea of I and mine. My success. My failure. My reputation. My identity. These attachments create pressure, fear, and dissatisfaction. If there is no fixed self, then what are you defending? This doesn't mean you disappear or become meaningless. It means you are free from the burden of constantly protecting an illusion. Think of it like a river. A river exists, but it is never the same from one moment to the next. The water flows, changes, moves. You can name it, you can point to it, but you cannot capture a single, unchanging essence. In the same way, you exist as a process. You are real, but not fixed. This insight has powerful consequences. If there is no permanent self, then your past does not define you as much as you think. You are not trapped by your previous mistakes. You are not permanently broken or permanently superior. You are constantly changing. This opens the door to transformation. It also changes how you relate to others. If you stop seeing yourself as a fixed identity, you also stop seeing others that way. You become less judgmental, less reactive, more understanding, because you realize that everyone is also a process, shaped by conditions. Another reason Buddhism rejects the soul is because of impermanence. Everything that exists is subject to change. If something were truly permanent, it would not interact with anything. It would be completely separate from reality, but your experience is deeply interconnected. Everything you feel, think, and do is influenced by causes and conditions. This is why Buddhism focuses on dependent origination, the idea that everything arises due to causes. Nothing exists independently. Nothing stands alone. A permanent soul would contradict this. It would be something unchanging in a world defined by change. Buddha didn't find evidence for such a thing, but here's where many people misunderstand this teaching. They think that if there is no soul, then there is nothing after death. Or that life becomes meaningless. But Buddhism doesn't say there is nothing. It says there is no fixed, unchanging entity. Instead of a soul being reborn, Buddhism describes a continuity of processes. Like a flame passing from one candle to another. The flame continues, but it is not the same flame, and it is not completely different either. This idea is subtle, but important. It avoids two extremes, the belief in an eternal, unchanging soul, and the belief that everything ends completely at death. Instead, it points to a middle way, where continuity exists without permanence. So what does this mean for your daily life? It means you can start questioning the way you relate to yourself, when you feel hurt, instead of thinking, "This is happening to me." You can observe the experience as a process. Sensations, thoughts, emotions arising and passing. When you feel proud, you can see it as a temporary state, not a permanent identity. When you feel lost, you can remember that there is no fixed version of you that you have to live up to. This doesn't remove all problems, but it changes your relationship to them. It creates space, and in that space, something surprising can happen. Without the constant pressure of maintaining a fixed self, the mind becomes lighter. Less defensive. Less reactive. There is less fear of change, because you are no longer trying to hold on to something that must remain the same. There is less attachment, because you see that everything is already in motion. There is less suffering, because the illusion that creates it begins to weaken. This is why Buddha's teaching is not just philosophical. It is practical. He didn't ask people to blindly believe that there is no soul. He encouraged them to look for themselves, to observe their own experience, to see whether they can actually find something permanent and unchanging. And when you look closely, not with assumptions but with attention, you may begin to notice something. The self you thought was solid is not as solid as it seemed. It is a story, constantly being updated. It is a pattern, constantly shifting. It is a process, not a thing, and realizing this is not meant to take something away from you. It is meant to free you from something you didn't realize you were carrying, the need to be fixed, the need to be permanent. The need to protect something that was never truly there in the first place, and in that realization, the shocking truth becomes something else entirely, not frightening, but liberating. Thanks for watching. Our channel is new and needs your support. In our channel you can find many videos on the history and philosophical teachings of Buddhism. Please subscribe to our channel to support the teachings of Buddha on YouTube.